All right, so we will call this meeting to order at exactly 5:15. All members are almost accounted for. We hear Steve's pulling in right now, and all staff is accounted for, and there are no guests online or here in person. Does anybody have any changes to this agenda at this time? Should we put the meeting last week under the fundraising discussion? Is that where you?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Is there any individual committee role updates to share, communications or follow-up?
I mean, most everybody was at the AI meeting about the July 1st meeting. You guys are all okay.
Okay. Moving on, number 5, Mark, do we have any additional updates or building notifications you want to share?
Select board meeting on the 2nd, we'll have asked them to give their final approval to the agreement with the Saginaw Agricultural and Horticultural Society for the conditional right of way. And their attorney says that they've got it for the board of directors, so in the near future, we should have both sides ready to sign.
And I did send an email to the listserv for the Parks and Recreation directors this afternoon after Mark and I talked, asking them if they had any copies of RFPs with similar protocol that we have, just for us to have some samples to look at.
Any other questions or anything to add on that? That's great news. Great. Another thing, checked off the list. Yay! Final report. Do we have that?
I have the copy, and we thought after the meeting we could set up a time for those that want to come.
We'll put it up on the screen and we
Yeah.
can just
Meet
do
here
it all right
upstairs.
upstairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll plan a time for that. I think after, do you wanna do it now?
We'll do it now, we don't have that much stuff to go over.
Oh, no.
Leslie.
Walked out without my phone.
You don't know where your
It
lunch
was 5 minutes early.
I was 2 minutes early.
I can do it. I'll figure it out. This week?
I don't know, what's your schedule
Any
next week?
afternoon?
This week or next week?
Kelly's not here this week, but that really doesn't make a difference now, so you guys decide what works for you. You've got school till Wednesday?
Wednesday I could do it. We have school tomorrow. That's it. Wednesday or Thursday?
Wednesday or Thursday afternoon?
Thursday I have an appointment at 1, but Wednesday I am open in the afternoon.
2 o'clock?
Wednesday at 2. I'll text if there's.
I will book it upstairs room tomorrow. Mark, do you know are the students anywhere?
Is that okay with you, Kevin? Kathy?
Wednesday, I think I've got something, but maybe not till 3 with the bike pick, but this room's available too, so.
Okay, well, I just figured so we can look up on a screen and I can
Yeah.
change things as we're talking so that it meets everybody's.
I almost think my meeting's at 3, so get your all set.
Okay.
Kind of the deal with the students is if they're in the room and they're interested, they can stay.
Yep.
Have they selected their projects?
Yes, and one of them does want to work on looking for grants and stuff for the community center. So I think, but if you want to reach out to your friend,
To Erica, yeah,
if she's willing to meet, Margaret would love to participate in it.
Margaret,
Margaret's from Cambridge. I have all their locations down now, so.
The incoming chief editor of the Bohemian.
Yes.
All right, so we have the those that are able to, this Wednesday at 2 p.m. here to make any final edits to the Harriman.
And then we can decide if we wanna figure out the shortening of it.
We can grab that and put it to the side.
Right.
I'm sorry, but those are t-shirts that I've been waiting for, that were supposed to be here Friday.
Go for it.
Okay, moving on. Number 7, fundraising and capital campaign discussion for the team. Do we want to give a recap of the meeting on last week? We think that would be good. I think one of the questions that came up, which this might be a good way to answer it, do we need to do minutes for that meeting?
Do we need formalized minutes for that?
Since we were all there.
Yeah, he's
I don't-
doing minutes
yeah.
for us. He's doing notes.
Well, he's doing the AI minutes.
Yeah, I don't think you have to do formal minutes for that.
No,
great.
no.
Should I include a recap here? Like, are we gonna recap it? and
That's what I was
Okay.
wondering, if we recap it here, maybe that would be sufficient.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I will kick off a recap and then we can have others add in, because I'm gonna be doing this off the top of my head. But we had a great meeting with Project Evident about what they are able to do in regards to supporting our needs for capital campaign planning and the tools that they have available in the form of AI. That they might be able to do with us. While they may not be able to do exactly what we would have gotten from a capital campaign manager, they do have some tools and some ideas that they may be able to help use to teach us more about AI. With the idea that we walked away from on the table, which was a potential workshop here, depending on if we can pay and things of that nature. Anybody have other things to add to that recap that I did not call out?
So he is going to send the recording of that session as well as his memorandum of everything that we talked about, in addition to trying to condense what our needs would be and what a potential associated cost would be.
Okay.
I think in the meantime too, we need to decide what would be beneficial to send him. Should we continue further having these conversations and having a potential workshop with him? That way we will be prepared if we get the approval to spend some funds to get the most bang for our buck. They will have all the information ahead of time before we start getting down to nitty-gritty conversations.
My question for the group is that the direction that we feel like we want to go?
I have one more thing to the summary, which was my takeaway. As they're referring to AI, I think it's important to also just say that they're data driven. That it wasn't just how do we use AI to be beneficial, it's really how do you access the information that's out there. They'll use AI to do it, but it's really that they're data driven. And I like that piece of it because I think, well, it'll be better to say, is it gonna be, do we go this way or this way? Well, let's look at the facts and see which way the evidence would show us to go. So just a little caveat to the AI piece of it, because keeping in mind what Ryan was saying, we could just use AI, but I think that it's more, I think they offer more than that. It's not just doing ongoing searches and having the right language, as it is, my hope is that they can guide us because of what we find, so.
I think to piggyback on top of that too, is they will teach us proper protocols, safeguarding information, consolidating our data, so we're not looking in multiple places, whether it's our surveys or business names or whatnot. I know we have a Bowdoin College student that wants to help with grants as well as my friend. But that is potentially something else that they could help lead us with. I'm sure that would be you know, an additional cost. We may not need it with what we're gonna look into. They can recommend fundraising consultants. Maybe, you know, not to say we're gonna go down that road based on our prior proposal. But it's just something else that they can do for us. And teach us and guide us and all of that good stuff. And then the other thing too is like the subscriptions, depending on what we would use. Whether it's Claude or the Chromebook one, or I forget the name of the other one.
Gemini.
Gemini, yeah. So I think their overall guidance, would be really something that would be extremely beneficial to us.
Do other people have thoughts on what they think right now? Kathy, you're shaking your head. I'm not gonna put you on the spot, but feel free to share.
Kinda. I should preface it by saying I love them.
Mhm.
I was impressed by them from the moment they started talking at Bowdoin College.
Mhm.
I think they can bring a lot to our discussion, especially the data-driven part that maybe we didn't see. When they told us the cost, I was a little nervous about that because I'm not sure we haven't gone down other avenues to see who might be able to teach us more about that. Maybe one of the Bowdoin College interns has as much AI data-driven information that they do. Maybe one of those other people that volunteered to be one of our fundraising assistants is just as equipped to teach us more things about AI. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
If we did it by a screen and it was only $3,000, maybe. I don't wanna make them come all the way up here and ask the taxpayers to pay $8,000 to teach us something that maybe we could learn on the computer. I mean, I know nothing about the computer, but I looked up the chat one that's free. And it gives you a step by step thing to follow. I know there are smart people in this town that can help us without having to pay for it. So preface it by saying I love them.
Yeah.
I think we could learn a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure that we've exhausted all other possibilities of people that could teach us how to fundraise with AI.
I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah, I think that's fair too. The only thing that I would say to that is, I think the Bowdoin interns can be very instrumental, but we're gonna have them for just a limited amount of time. So if we run into stuff next year and say in January, if we go through or whatever, you know, we may very well need some higher guidance. That's all.
My sense of this year's interns is, they certainly, I'm sure, you say I love better than I can't, other than the Google search to the AI answer or something. They would not have the skill level of what I saw in that presentation. So I think it's worth at least letting them come back with their price and the options and see,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, 8 might be steep, but it might well be worth 3 to 5. So,
Regardless, it's certainly cheaper than hiring a consultant for 10 grand a month.
yeah.
I guess part of the reason I ask, and I'll just put this out there, is that everything I've taken as far as notes, since starting in the committee in 2023, I put it into AI today. I created a deck, I created a feasibility study, I created a campaign roadmap, and then I was able to put that campaign roadmap based on the expected timeframes into specific dates for this committee with a start date of July 1st. And it doesn't get into the data specifics yet, but I didn't go into the data specifics. I just used all of the documentation that I already had from all of our PowerPoints and all of our notes. And I said, look at this, create a feasibility study, create this, and I have all of those things started.
Can I just give you a high five? Go girl.
And so
Go girl.
it makes me wonder, I think back to a comment that Kathy made, I think it was a couple of months ago, when we first started talking about this discussion, you said you felt the impression that maybe they didn't want to work with us. And this is the first time I've gotten to see them live, and I kind of walked away feeling like maybe he was trying to say, hey, we can't do what you want to do. If you really wanna pay us money, we'll come here and we'll teach you how to use AI.
It wasn't that I said they didn't want to work with us, I said I thought they were being kind to
Yes, sorry,
extend-
sorry,
Just
my
wanna
apologies.
correct my adjective
Yes,
there.
my apologies. So it just makes me wonder if, to Kathy's point, if we have the ability to explore some more options. I still think we should get the quote and see what he comes back with, but is there more we can do on our own to build out some of this stuff? But I don't wanna say that if we as a group think that that's not something feasible.
It's interesting you say that, cause there was one moment where I said, no, he doesn't want part of this, and then he contradicted himself, like, right after, and then said, oh, this would work really well for you guys, I think we'd be a big help.
And
So I was like, what is going on here?
I kind of took that as, and maybe I was hearing something different, but I kind of took that as all of a sudden he got excited because they've never done this, so
Yeah.
what a cool case story to say that they did this with this town, and then they can expand the way they offer it to other clients as well. But I could, I mean, again, I could be reading.
My sense is that we're a stretch for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will say that I really appreciated meeting them virtually, so thank you for setting that up, because it was really nice to be able to hear exactly like where they're coming from and what they offer. I agree with what you said, that I do feel like this is a stretch for what they do. With that and the costs that they spoke about, like the max, or he said the 5 to 8 grand, that also kind of surprised me. And I will say that I don't really feel comfortable asking the town to pay for that, based on what Allison has said about we can go into AI and kind of start there. Do they have more expertise about the data side of things? I'm gonna say probably, definitely yes. But I just don't think that's what we're looking for right now. I think we need either a professional fundraiser or a capital campaign manager. And I know that Mary Beth quoted us about 10 grand a month. And I know that she wanted, capital campaigns take a long time, but even if we ask for a month of her time to guide us with just the next step, just that feasibility study, I would feel much more comfortable asking the town for 10 grand to do that than for 8 grand to have someone come show us how to use their tools when it might not really apply to us.
that I agree with.
What's your take on that, Mark?
Let's wait till after July 1st.
Okay.
Cause if you haven't met Dr. Bovee, he's a straight shooter, very nice guy,
The one you
and he
had
really wants to
mentioned,
see
yeah.
this succeed.
Yeah.
So I think if we lay out for him some of our dilemmas, he may have suggestions for us, or maybe he'll have access to some of his people at Maine Health that do their philanthropy, not that they would do the campaign for us, but they might be good to give us advice on what they think we should do next or something, so.
Okay, cause I'll be quite honest with you, I'm out of options. I feel I've been researching, and I don't know who else to turn to.
Well, I will also say that I also I used ChatGPT and asked for next steps, and it gave me a list of consultants to reach out to in this area, which were some that I don't believe we've reached out to yet, because it's like beyond Topsham and Brunswick. So I'm happy to call them and ask these questions too if we want to, but they're all gonna be quotes similar to Mary Beth. Like it's clear that that's what this is going to cost. So I do think that we need to either get support knowing it's going to cost that much, or figure out where we can get the funds to then move forward in that path. That's kind of where I feel we need to figure that part out.
I think we have to have a good grasp too on everything that goes on behind the scenes that you do get from, say, a fundraising consultant.
Mhm.
I think it's much more nuanced than just putting stuff into AI. I really do, and that's where we need the expertise from somebody, whoever it ends up being.
He probably also has AI.
Well, yeah, I
Experience.
mean, I think it's gonna be a combination, and whether that person or that entity exists to give us that kind of guidance at a reasonable price or whatever it may be, maybe there's somebody out there, I don't know. But I think like Mark said, this gentleman, Dr. Bovee, you know, let's see what he has to say, I think, before we make any decisions. It's not like, my 2 cents, it's not like we're on a, have to decide within the next month timeframe. We still have plenty of time because, we still need that actual agreement signed, right? I mean, I'm not comfortable doing anything until that's actually signed, because, you know, last minute surprises. And then we still have to go before the select board for funds for the RFP. And that's not gonna be cheap, right?
I think it's probably a 2-step process. I'd say,
Yeah.
I think, they'll probably let the RFP be released. But then see what the numbers come back in
Yeah.
before they'll make a decision. There is some money left that was allocated
Right.
from last year that could be used, but we'll see which is why I think, again, I wouldn't rush too quickly to start the fundraising part yet. Because if the town doesn't have enough commitment, and I don't mean that in a negative way, I just mean, if I'm being asked to write a big check.
Right.
And the town doesn't wanna spend the money on the 15% design, I'm gonna be pretty leery about writing a check, not knowing if, you know, if this is really gonna happen or not.
Absolutely.
I think to that point, I just want to point out the moving forward with the capital campaign manager, the feasibility study part isn't actually the fundraising part, it's to do exactly that. It's to reach out to the potential either like organizations, individuals, foundations, and ask them, do you like, how much support do you have for this project? Do you believe in this project? And if you do believe in it, how much do you think the town believes in it, and how much money do you think we can raise? It's asking those key players what they believe in it, because then if the feasibility comes back and it's like everyone's like, no, they don't believe in it, then there is no moving forward with the RFP or with the fundraising or anything like that. So that's why figuring out how to pay for that part of the campaign might be kind of critical.
Yeah, and we may get feedback just based on,
Yes.
not feedback, but pushback just based on what Martha said. Use AI and do it yourself. I feel like we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, to be honest with you, and I understand both sides of it.
Yeah.
So we've gotta somehow kind of find a way to meet in the middle to make it happen. What that answer is, I don't know at this point, but it definitely requires talking to more people and more research.
Well, can I highlight just a couple of things that I found today in just doing my initial research?
Before you do that, I'm sorry, before I forget, because I'm gonna send an email tonight to Erica and I'll copy you on it. What's Margaret's days and hours?
Pretty much regular business hours. I mean, she could do something after hours too, but basically she's here every day, so.
So basically Monday, Friday, 8 to 4 type of thing? Or-
8:30 to 4:30.
8:30 to 4:30,
Okay,
Monday through Thursday night till 6, Friday night just till 3.
okay,
Same office
alright,
as town.
just put a basic, okay, sorry, thank you.
Yeah. So it says before we would even get into a roadmap, we'd need to do a context alignment where we transition the needs assessment into fundraising readiness. And we translate some of our survey data so that we can have some of that. So we have a lot of data already in what we did. But, and I know you've mentioned this a million times when we've talked about this whole campaign planning. It's saying the first 6 months, so if we say July 1st to December 31st or January 1st is pre-campaign planning. And in that time, what we would be responsible for is finalizing a case for support, setting up campaign leadership structure, defining our roles, creating a gift range chart, and to continue to identify on the list that we've already started top prospective donors. So it's saying for the next 6 months, we wouldn't even start having conversations with people because we want to create the documents that support, based on all the work that we've already done, that support why we want to ask these questions. Here's the results, here's the surveys that we've already had in a really condensed format. here's the report in a really nice one pager that we can hand out. And I think we have a lot of that information. I think we just have to take the time as a group to condense it. And then from there, it says the next step is to add that information to the feasibility study and then start to have those questions. And this is just, again, this was no altering from me, but I know that you've talked about a bunch of times that to have any of these conversations, we have to have the documentation to back it up, and we do, but we have it in this file and in this PowerPoint and in this case note and in this FAQ, when if we took 2 or 3 of our monthly meetings and said, okay, let's work on this document right now, we could really make some headway on what we've already done and start to put those pieces into this shell that the AI created for me. And then we can go ask AI to say, okay, now that we know this, what's the piece that we're missing? That way you don't have to know everything about data formulating, because now we're just missing, okay, we know this, this, and this, we're just missing this piece. Let's do an AI search for this piece. And I think that's where it could potentially save us some money. But I don't, again, this is just what I did, and today was the first time I really had a chance to go in and play with it myself. Hence why I'm so excited about it.
Do you wanna share that with the committee, maybe?
Yeah, I could
think that would
definitely,
be great.
I could definitely.
And I kind of hear what you're getting from that is what she told us when she came to speak with us. Is that we have to make a case. Our biggest and most important thing is taking our data and making our case.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to share this and along with some of the other things that I created today. And or you said you put it in a chat GPT too, you could share all of it, but
Yeah, cause like I had mine create a gift chart or a gift range chart and a couple of the other specific things that I was like, what would that look like for our project?
yeah.
And so anyway, go ahead.
The only difference is that I took, cause I have access to Copilot and I have a file that's my Topsham file, so I said, take this Topsham file and do this. And so it was not the interweb, it was my documents, and it took that and created this document, so that's where this came from. So
And you can take that then and say, please make a one-page document.
once we have all of the spots filled in,
Mhm.
yes, then we can take this one document and say, please condense it to a single handout. But again, we have to pull all of our data together in one spot, and I think that we can do that and still get the quote. Maybe we will get another month or 2 months down the road and say, yeah, we still need help. But there are things we could be doing in the meantime. And if we take this July 1st or whatever date as our start date and say, okay, let's start checking these things off the list, I think we might, we could focus, the next meeting, we could say, okay, what do we need to build a case for support? And I can come with a shell and what's in a case for support and what do we need to pull from where? Because one of the things that came to me today was I was trying to think back to the last select board meeting. What's our actual charge when it comes to the fundraising? It isn't to see how much money we can raise, isn't it to create a plan for how we would go about fundraising?
Correct.
Right. So,
You're meeting that.
right, so if we create this, I feel like this is gonna be our plan for fundraising. But I could be wrong. I'm gonna stop talking.
No, what's funny, everything you're saying is pretty much exactly what Kathy and Lynn and I witnessed, what they said they can do for businesses. Is they put everything into one thing and then they just keep asking it. They use Claude, I think. Question after question after question, and it just gets applied to the full. So once you have it in one spot, I mean, that's essentially what they say they can do for us.
Do we
For
have a
people.
policy as far as using AI?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, I'm just thinking Claude costs money, but it's a more intellectual
Mhm.
level compared to Copilot and some of the others. I know my son-in-law uses it for all of his capital investment work. So my thought would be, we might want a more sophisticated AI tool, to belong to, that's all.
But I
Yeah,
think-
but didn't he also say that he might find a way to share with us? Like,
But if
there
we're
might be
not-
a cost, but you
If we're
can.
not paying.
True.
Okay.
Yeah, but he did say that some of them were like $25 a month.
Claude is 30,
Okay,
Oh, really? For, you know,
and if we
There's free
create it
versions.
and they have a discount for nonprofits, and then you add in the fact that we're gonna put it in as a group membership where we can each use it, $30 a month seems a whole lot.
I was gonna say, if we're spending 30 a month as opposed to 3,000 to 8,000, I think it's pretty easy to say that I will pay the 30.
Right,
but wouldn't it be 30 times?
no, cause we can make a group
If it's a group.
login subscription,
Hey, that seems like it's.
so that we could all, so we could all use it.
So my question, Mark, I don't know if you know the answer or not, since okay, Mr. Legal guy, since we're not town employees and we'd be using AI with all of that data, what are the protections on that?
Anything that Allison has fed into that is all public record. So. there's
No,
issue.
anything I have done is specific to my login. So I'm not going on the internet, I'm not sharing
But
it.
anything this committee has done has been public record.
Right,
right.
We don't have people's personal incomes or something. you know,
Right,
for
so
that.
what I'm saying is the town is paying for an AI account for us to use, we're not town employees, where's the protection?
But there's nothing needs to be protected, I guess, is my point. There's no confidential data.
Misuse of AI? Not to say anybody
But
would,
there's
but
nothing that could be,
What
these
are you
are all
getting
things
at?
that are public
I'm
record,
just-
so.
I'm always done.
So if
Do you know
somebody
what
did
it
a
is?
search, most of the documents you created are on the web already. They're on so if somebody wanted to do a search and use it, they could draw that stuff out themselves.
They could
So I
download
mean,
all of our meetings
yeah.
and.
we can make
Right,
a
I
file in
understand that,
Gmail,
but-
in a Google
Yeah.
account and give Claude access to that file, and that's where we upload everything.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That clarifies it, thanks, Pam.
Where it might be more of an issue, well, I don't think we are at that stage, is I think Mary Beth Canning was talking about something she has access to. Where she can tell you who in Topsham had what income level and you should go
Right,
get it.
right.
And that we would wanna just
No.
eliminate it,
Yeah.
Right,
but I think we're not talking
We
about that
have a
right now.
Gmail account, Topsom Parks. So we could create a folder there that I could give all of you access to, and that's where we could put it to work out of.
Yeah.
And I can look into the Claude. I was asking him to make sure I was right on the price, but I'm pretty sure it's $30 a month. And just see what we can get out of that.
I just tend to think if we're not at the point of ready to sign an RFP, because we're still missing a lot of the information. My thought is that if we can take this, create a document that says, this is how we would recommend going about fundraising, fill in all the specifics, then we got access to the right of way, we have a plan for how we would fundraise. And then we can go back to the select board and say, okay,
And our
Our-
intern finds possible
Right.
grants.
and we find possible grants, then we're ready to go back to the select board and say, okay, you gave us these tasks, here's where we're at with each of the tasks. Do you want to move forward with obtaining an RFP, or where do we think we're at? Because as we've talked about before, it also seems like there's a lot of moving parts in this whole thing. Add in
Well,
the
Margaret
school
will have to
board.
do a report in August, right, to the Board of Selectmen?
They can do whatever they want.
I know, but at some point before she leaves, she'll have to do that, so that could
Oh,
kind of.
Margaret, I thought you said Mark.
No, Margaret will have to do they come and do a report to the selectmen on what they worked at in the summer. So she's gonna give an update what she looked at. So for us to kind of be in sync to follow after her, with what,
You can do
how.
an update the same night, a community center committee update.
If we had everything done by then.
Or even if you don't have everything done, just say, here's where we're at.
well, you had initially said maybe going before them in July, just to give an update.
Yeah, so maybe we change that to the first August meeting, it would be the same night Margaret presents her results.
21.25 a month for Claude.
But I would underline the comment about there's lots of moving parts. Which is kind of why I think Allison's plan kind of makes sense. It gives this committee something to be doing that's productive and positive while we find out if we can get the ordinances changed to an extent that can allow the battery storage farm to happen in business, which could be a big infusion of tax money, to whether the legislature ends up being willing to change the
The tips.
TIF statutes to There's a couple other things that could happen to develop either the Crooker piece or the piece across 295 at top of Fair Mall. Either of which, if we could get the TIF statute changed, might be a way. So yeah, and then there's the issue of, is the school gonna release Williams Cone to us, back to us? So, yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces, so I think it kind of makes sense to work on this part before we, and meanwhile, we put the RFP out and see what we get for feedback and what the prices are.
I think the other thing about going through this piece, especially this first section that talks about the case of support, our rules, our gift range chart, things like that. Whether we build a whole new building or we reuse a building that's already in the town, we're still gonna need money. Because we're gonna need to change some things, so this would be applicable in either case. So we're documenting everything we've done in one place, which is different than what Harriman did. Harriman's is specific to the building. So.
Would you venture a timeline on any of those above items? I know that's really a stretch to ask for that, but.
I think the school is getting ready to come to fruition in the next few months as to at least what the recommendations are. I think we'll know this fall whether that there's a bill proposed to change the TIF statute the way we want it. What else do we have on that list?
RFP,
Oh, the RFP, I could see that also being part of the August update, is say, here's an RFP we'd like to release. And again, it doesn't commit the town to making it, we'll wait and see what the results are. But we could go to that meeting with, you guys could say, here, update, here's what we've been getting done. Here's Margaret can say, here's some potential grants I found, maybe even written by that or something. And then we could say, here's the RFP we'd like to release for the 15% design. So.
Battery storage? Battery storage was on the list.
That, if it ends up getting subsumed into the recode process, be more likely probably optimistically next town meeting, things would be ready. If the recode process ends up kind of getting something different happens with it, and we do the battery storage part separate from that, it could be before next town meeting, could potentially have a special order. The recode process just got restarted last month, and they've got a big meeting, first one in July, where they talk about the table of uses, and that'll kind of determine, I think, whether it's gonna be built or not.
Mark, do we wanna go out with the RFP before we know what the school's doing?
I think we can at least go out for it, cause it's gonna
But
take
I'm just
probably a
thinking
couple
we're
months
two
to get the
different
result back.
directions.
Yeah.
right. Do you know what the procedure is for the school if they release Williams Common School back to the town?
My guess is that's probably 5 to 6 years out anyway, because they're not gonna release it until they have the replacement built.
And who makes that decision? Is
There's
that
gonna
a
have to
town
be a
vote
bond to be
Or
voted
bond?
on by townspeople,
for new school?
or the whole district actually.
Yeah, okay. But so they would have to do that before they could, I'm just trying to put,
They'd have to vote on the
timeline.
bond
Ownership
before they
would
get
resort
funded.
back to us because the town owned it first.
right, but what would happen first? Would they apply for a bond and get that bond first before they release anything, right?
They're not gonna release any, they have to apply for the bond for you to fund the project,
Right,
And this one isn't gonna have state funding, most likely, because the state doesn't have much money to fund schools, and they just gave on Ararat. So this would be entirely local, so you're looking at, which could be implications for this project too, which is why the funders are more important.
right,
If
right.
that school plan goes through, that would be a big tax increase, which is gonna make people not have an appetite for it more. Tax increase.
What was our increase this year?
Um,
That was
we'll
nine?
know it's ballpark.
Ballpark, yeah. Okay, a lot of moving parts,
It is.
which is good, but
Mind-boggling.
frustrating.
So with that, my proposal would be that we take the next 3 meetings, since we really don't have any more, at least on our agenda like we saw today. The Harriman report will probably be done within the next week or so, we can have that to use as a resource. We don't really have a whole lot more building progress updates right now, so if we meet once a month over the next 3 months, we can take that hour and really dig into defining where we are now and doing the pre-campaign planning, so that we have those pieces done before we even get to the point of feasibility. And then if we get a quote from, thank you, in the meantime, we could take that into consideration. But that's what I would propose we do for the next 3 months, to make this time productive.
That sounds great.
Is anyone on that's gonna be here on the first, the two of us and Mark, right? Okay.
Anybody?
It's not,
like
just so you can kind of know, the July 1st meeting,
Mhm.
Mark Hagan will be there. There's a couple of people, Dr. Beauvais, and I think we'll have Melissa Fasciato, because she really is the person who spear points a lot of that. Jeff went last time, is it gonna be you, him, or both of you, just so they kind of.
Probably both, I'm probably
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah, so, but
And
he's
it's
very
here?
easy to talk to, yeah. And it will be good to have a little bit more information for him.
Mhm.
But really just to give him an update on where things are at. I'd really like us to have the feasibility study done, the short one, especially for that day. So.
Oh,
hopefully we
okay,
can
ready
have
to
it.
give to
Yeah,
him, okay,
yeah.
yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. What's his, is he from around here, like what's his background?
He's the medical director for the hospital.
Yeah,
You replaced Lois Skillings.
Lois Skillings, yep.
But he was also, he has been at Midcoast for 8 to 10 years prior.
What kind of doctor?
I'm not so sure about that,
I know he was there during COVID.
right, I don't think he was there much before.
Okay.
I don't think before they merged with Maine Health, I don't think he worked at Midcoast. So, I think he either worked for Maine
Came
Health
from
elsewhere or
them.
came from.
Yeah.
elsewhere.
Yeah. He likes to cook, I can tell you that. He spent a little bit of time talking to us about cooking. But.
Okay, bring snacks.
But he loves kids and wants to make a difference, and I think the source of this money is when Midcoast and Parkview merged, there was money that was set aside for community health. And you don't ask for this money, they choose you. So he wants to help us, but I think he also probably wants to make sure the money's getting employed, so he probably wants to get a sense of, is this gonna happen or not?
So are we buying with Chief Aiken for money from?
No,
No.
Chief Aiken's part of our team, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was part of the invite that when we first went to
Cool.
December. You were in Gettysburg, weren't you?
No, I think I was out hiking. It was
Oh,
in
okay.
October when I was gone.
October, so
Okay.
I just
cool.
remember it was something.
Well, that's exciting. I'm not running the meeting, she is, so.
Well, I mean, the proposal of next steps for this piece of it,
Mm-hmm.
so
Are you
We
seconding?
can bring that to.
Steve is seconding.
Okay.
Get
so
that?
that is a
Get
plan
that
forward,
secretary?
unless anybody has a disagreement.
Yeah, so just
So
to take
we'll-
the next 3 meetings to work on these. The
Yes, and I think
pre-campaign
we
planning
can
documents.
I think you and I could probably take what we've already created and create some templates. That instead of having to do everything on the computer, we'll fill it in by hand, talk about the different points, see who can remember what, Leslie, because she has all the history.
She can't remember her phone, no, I'm just kidding.
And then we'll keep adding to the same document and keep growing it so that it will tell a story of what we've done.
I'll make a folder in the Google Drive and share it with everybody,
Okay.
just for this project.
Great. And then we can share what I created today, I'll share that, we can put, that can be your starting point in the folder and what you created.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can start from there.
I think it's important to have our mission statement in there too, so that's always the guiding
Yes,
principle.
absolutely.
Kathy, when you go online, do you have a laptop or an iPad that you use? Okay. Do you plan on being at the next meeting? Cause I know you said you had trouble before accessing one of the Google Docs, is that correct? Okay, so why don't, so why don't you bring it with you
Okay.
the next meeting?
And we'll make
And
sure
we'll
you
make
can get
sure,
used to
so
it.
that way
It's
you,
easy
you,
once you learn.
cause we wanna make sure that everyone has access and everyone stays on top of what's
The whole
happening,
school
right?
district uses it, that's the only reason I learned, cause
Yeah.
we don't really use it here a lot, but I've had to learn it because of that.
Use it very often
It
either.
was moved and seconded, so can we go
Yes,
on? All in favor?
all in favor, sorry, great.
Trying to move on.
Thank you.
I have a question which might not be, does it still maintain being a regular meeting, or is it more of a workshop? Will it still be recorded and it's gonna be more of a working meeting, but we still record it as if it was a meeting?
If all you're doing is just working up that draft and it's gonna be a final written draft released, I don't, especially if Pam and I are tied up when you're doing it, I don't think we need to record that.
That's what I'm thinking, is it just would feel like a little bit more like we're just working on something.
Right, cause we're gonna be kind of shooting from the
Yeah.
hip and just brainstorming, right?
Exactly,
Right.
Yeah.
And that written document gets produced, so there's.
exactly, and
So,
there's proof that
okay.
we've done what we get to do, okay.
Good thought.
So we need to just talk about when the next meeting is, cause you're gonna start that, so.
Yep. And then I would say, I don't know if you wrote down, but we are gonna, or in agreement that we're gonna try to give an update to the select board on the same date that I was looking at you.
Beginning, oh, me, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, I put, probably the first meeting in August,
So you.
cause that's when Margaret from Bowdoin College will be,
Okay.
yeah,
Perfect.
and they
And
need
that's
what, like
August sixth.
August sixth, okay. And they need, what, a week's time frame to get on the agenda?
I'll make sure it's on the agenda, so just,
Okay.
if you have written materials you want them to have, ideally, put those in the week before.
Yeah, okay,
This is a little different than an action item, because this is just an update, so.
Right.
If it turns out you just have PowerPoint slides you wanna use that night, that's fine.
okay, alright, I just don't wanna make sure that we're not springing anything on them last
If we
minute.
end up putting the RFP on, mix it into that, then that will definitely want the package.
Right,
Set
right,
prior week, so.
okay.
Okay, moving on, reviewing the minutes of May 26th. Any changes or adjustments?
No,
I move to accept the minutes. I move to accept the minutes from May 26th. Nicely done.
All in favor?
6.
Minutes have been accepted as is from the May 26th meeting. Heather, what are our follow-up action items?
Okay. Anyone who can will meet at 2 p.m. on this Wednesday, June 24th to make, to make edits to the final report and the short version of it.
Harriman.
Yes, the Herald report, thank you. Lynn is gonna reach out to her friend Erica for the grant information, along with meeting with the Bowdoin intern Margaret, connecting those two basically. We are hoping to have the final report done for the July 1st meeting that's coming up. I have that Allison and Heather will create templates for the pre-campaign planning workshops that we will be doing. Pam to create a separate Google Drive folder for that specific project. And that we will be meeting with the select board on August 6th to give them an update along with Margaret's report. Right, did I miss anything?
Sounds great.
And when we hear back from the Project Evident, which might be within the next month, we'll just bring that to whatever
Oh, it should
meeting.
be within a week,
I would think so. but-
Yeah, yeah.
So then, the next time we meet, we'll look at that.
we'll just go from there. Real quick, Mark, can you remind me again, the process of putting RFP together is you and anybody for the committee or just townspeople or how this?
Could come in couple different ways, if you guys wanted to write, feel free. If you guys also say, geez, we're kind of busy, then Pam and I would work on it, or it could be Pam and I do a draft, send it to you guys to look at, you do a draft, send it to us, so some combination of people in this room.
Okay, I would like to be involved in it in some aspect of it. I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but I wanna learn and, yeah, okay. Cool.
When and if I get copies of RFP
To use for some
requests, I'll
okay,
share them.
cool.
Probably what would happen is we could give a couple samples to Allison. She'll mix it with her AI generated history, and in 5
That's what
minutes she'll give
Mark's
us an RFP.
Okay.
All right, so every,
Fun, too.
whatever I can do to help. Okay, so with that, everybody's favorite game, when are we available?
Well, I panicked at first, I went in and the whole month was booked. But it was because when whoever put in the 3rd of July, they put it in for the whole month.
Yeah, the same thing happened with Juneteenth.
I know.
We were closed for a week for Juneteenth.
So, July 3rd is now just for the day. I think Rose is putting it in hoping she gets the whole week.
Or Irene did it to help her retire.
Oh, that's true, yep, get her retired. The 20th here is booked, but upstairs is free if we wanted to keep with Mondays. The 13th, the bike pedestrian committee is here, and the 6th. There's 2 meetings here, so nothing's available. 27th is wide open, if we stick with Mondays.
What are the 2 meetings? Because I think bike pedestrian would have 2 meetings, so if this group wants to have 1 meeting, I'm not gonna tell bike pedestrian they can have 2. You know, before we get 1, or for this committee gets 1. We also, you may be able to steal their liaison, because Jeff was really impressed with how nice you guys were. I said, wow, you got the best committee, I love the community center committee.
Jeff?
Yeah, when he was setting up the computer for you.
Oh, when you said the
Yeah.
computer, I got upstairs.
I say the 20th, I feel like that is a good amount of time, plus gives us some opportunity to do some of these other things.
I will book us upstairs if that works for everybody on July 20th.
We're looking. We're all looking
I
at.
said
yes,
no.
I'm in town.
15, right?
I'm in town.
Sure.
I just have practice at 6, so I could kind of
So you can come for the first little bit.
easily. Well, I
Wanna say
practice
5?
tonight too, so it's fine.
Does 5 o'clock work? Not so much.
Yeah, I can do 5. That would give us an hour upstairs.
5 o'clock.
The 20th at 5 p.m.
Perfect,
I will
good compromise.
Upstairs?
Yeah.
Bye, Steve.
We gotta close the meeting first.
I know you're chomping at the bit to go. I move that we adjourn.
Second,
Meeting adjourned at 6:07 p.m.
perfect.
Thank you all.
Every good meeting is under 1 hour.